This over here is a GPU, and I bet you've never seen this GPU before. But it's not just the GPU, it's actually absolutely fantastic, especially if you're a creator working with a thin and light laptop that has Thunderbolt support. You want to know what this guy does and how this can improve your workflow. Let me show you. Licensing Windows is cheap and easy with whokeys.com, and if you use the code TN20, you get an extra discount. Complete the purchase, copy the key, and paste it to the activation settings. And you're all done. Also, check out their Microsoft Office 19 license and use the same code TN20 for the extra discount. Check out whokeys.com in the video description below. So this is called GPD G1. It comes in a box like that. I found this on a website called What Geek. I believe I have a discount code for you in the description below as well. But basically, this is an external GPU and a dock. And I'll show you why this is so amazing. So you can see there is a Thunderbolt 4 port and an Oculink port, and then a quiet and normal switch in here. And a power button, but this is not just the fan speed quiet and normal switch. I'll show you what this does in a minute. And then we've got some grills on the side there for the air to go in. There's another little fan grill from the top. We've got another little grill on the side here. Some fans in here, it actually blows it out from this side, so it kind of sucks the air in from the side and then flows out from this side. And then in the back of the device, we have the Mickey Mouse power cord, 2 USB Type A ports, 1 SD card slot, which is nice, 2 display ports, and 1 HDMI port. Now, the cool thing about this is that if you look at this one, there is actual GPU inside here. This is a Radeon 7600 XT, which has got 8 gigabytes of VRAM, and I'll show you how we're gonna turn this on, but it's absolutely amazing. Now, all you have to do is plug it in. I've got the power cord in here. It's not a very long one, so I'm gonna have to do it in here, okay? And then we've got a Thunderbolt 4 cable that came in the case. We're gonna connect that into the front there. And anyone remember this laptop, okay? This is the Asus ZenBook Duo that has dual 14-inch OLED screens that doesn't have a dedicated GPU, but only integrated graphics. As you can see right now on Task Manager, we've got only Intel Arc graphics. And now I'll plug this Thunderbolt 4 port in and turn it on. Suddenly, our computer is plugged in. And look at that. Did you see that? Radeon RX 7600M XT. Now, one thing I do have to mention that before showing you in this video, I actually installed the RX 7600M graphics from AMD's website. If you don't know how to do that, it's super simple. Just Google 7600M drivers, and then you just download the first one, install it, super easy. But now, when I'm just gonna use the Thunderbolt 4 cable, I get an external GPU plus a ton of extra ports and extra display ports. So let's say this is here for you at home and you've got multiple screens going on. You can put 2 displays in the back there, plus another HDMI. So extra 3 screens that you can put in there that the Radeon GPU actually runs. So this Intel is not running any of the GPUs right now, okay? And then you connect your laptop that doesn't have dedicated GPU with just 1 cable. It will give you 3 displays. It charges a laptop up to 65 watts, and you get extra GPU on the side as well, plus ports. Let's say you're a creator, you want to ingest some footage, you've got some SD card slot, because this laptop doesn't have SD card slot, USB Type A ports, and so on. It's absolutely amazing. Let's see this thing actually at work. I've got hardware info open here, so we can take a look at the GPU power and what's going on. So as you can see, we've got our Core Ultra 7 155H there. As always, thermally throttling for no reason. Let me just put it into performance mode as well, so the fans actually kick in for the CPU. And then when we scroll down here, you can see the Radeon graphics, and you can see all sorts of things going on. Total graphics power, how much it's gonna pull. As you can see, it's already hit 87 watts, and I've got it on there. Let's just zero it, so you can see total graphics power, nothing there. Now, I've got Cinebench open there. And let's say you're doing some 3D rendering and using Redshift, for example. The ARC GPUs aren't supported in Redshift yet. I hope they will. But here, we're gonna put GPU 10-minute test on. And then now, if we look at this over here, watch this total graphics power from 3 watts, 21 watts, 40 watts, 61 watts, 68, 51. Interestingly, it kind of peaks. It's not just absolutely pegging it 71 watts, as you can see there. So if you're looking at the utilization in Task Manager, you can see that there is like little spikes. It kind of goes up and down. I'm wondering if this is just because of the Thunderbolt tries to use the bandwidth. But look at that, 75 watts. I can feel some warm air coming from here now. It's actually very, very good temperatures. Look at that, 64 degrees, the memory junction, that's the hotspot. And then the GPU temperature is 59 degrees on this. It's not bad at all. Look, GPU power maximum, 120. The total graphics power, I think 78 there was maximum. Dedicated GPU, look, all of the dedicated GPU memory is used. Only 300 megabytes is left for other bits. And it's totally working there. Now, one thing I do have found is like it has some kind of the power spikes when you're running this full on load on the actual dock or graphics card, because you can see on the screen it sometimes says plugged in, even though the bottom like little icon always says that it is, you know, plugged in, then it's power, but it must lose it for a second to actually show you the temperature or show you the error that, okay, we've like now lost the power and now it's finally plugged in again. Look at that, it peaked at 82 watts. Okay, we're getting 4,100 points, something like that. I'm gonna close the Cinebench and we're gonna open Fairmark. So now we can actually see how much like absolute synthetic power we can pull from the GPU and see how this is gonna go. Okay, let's see this now. Previously we were at 82 watts. Let me just close this now. GPU's stress test, go. Look, this is 720 running on the screen, okay? And then now look at that. We are at 100 watts. So this is pushing 100 watts power through the GPU and absolutely pegging it, giving it everything it can get. And now you can see the temperature going a little bit higher, 70 and so on. While it's doing that, I want to show you what happens with the front switch. So there is quiet and normal switch. Right now I've got it on normal. And as you can see, the TGP limit is 100 watts, or we're just pulling maximum 100. That's what it can supply. But if I switch this now, look what just happened. The total graphics power went down to 60 watts. So look at that. You can see a little spike in there as well. So basically with that little switch, it keeps the fans quiet, but also limits the graphics power wattage, what's been drawn. 100 or 60. So I'm going to push it back to 100. Plugged in. It's probably going to take a minute. Oh, it stopped doing that. So if going from low to high, it had a little error there. And then now it runs it on this. Look at that, 100. We're pulling through from there. And the interesting thing is, even though the GPU is pulling 100 watts, there must be a very good power supply in there, because we're still delivering 65 watts charging for our laptop. So now you know how the hardware works. What about actual results in real world applications, especially as a creator? Obviously, if you're a gamer, this is gonna give you performance in your games because the integrated GPU is not really for gaming. But I wanna see how this works in creative applications. So I did a test on Premiere Pro, PureBench for Premiere Pro. One with the external GPU plugged in, and then one without, to see how much performance gain we're actually going to get. And look at those results. We're getting more than 50% gain on our performance by just adding this little guy there. So this is previously just integrated GPU. Look, GPU effects 10.2 and then now 28.5. That's almost 3 times as fast. Raw score went up 50%, a bit more. Intraframe score, a bit less than 50%. Long GOP, interestingly, went up as well to 42. So that is almost 50% gain. And then the overall score is more than 50% gain. So as you can see, this little guy really boosts your editing performance, whatever you're doing, because suddenly we do have dedicated video memory and the graphics effects are going to be a lot better as well. So why am I liking this solution so much is that now I can get a dock, and the dock actually gives me performance boost as well. So suddenly I don't need to have a very thick and big laptop to get performance boost, where you have a big dedicated laptop GPU there as well. But now I can have a thin and light, you know, do my things on the go. But when I'm coming back home, I've got this dock where I'm going to plug in, I get all the power from my laptop, but also performance for whatever I'm doing. Now, I wish this worked for Apple as well, but I don't think it does. It only supports, you know, Windows. But imagine if you had a MacBook Pro M3 Max, for example, and then you come back home and you have a dock like this with NVIDIA RTX 4080 Super, for example, or 5090 or something like that somehow, and you just plug your laptop in, boom, suddenly you've got an insane workstation. I would be definitely super interested in that. I hope you are. Let me know if you know in the comment section below. But there are a few concerns that I also have about this device. Number one, it's a Radeon GPU and it's a mobile GPU. It's low end, but still gives us quite a big boost compared to just integrated, you know, Intel Arc graphics, which is good. But I wish this was NVIDIA because we would get so much more performance boost. I know that the price will then be a little bit higher, but as a creator, having NVIDIA there, that would be much nicer. Even if it's 4060 Ti, the performance would be getting per watt for 3D, and some of these other programs would be so much better. Or give us a laptop 4080 in there with 100 watt TDP. That would be absolutely amazing as well. The second little downside about this device is these two ports. If your laptop or device has an Oculink, okay, remember some of the mini PCs we've seen with Oculink, you can connect this one as an external GPU there as well. If you have the Oculink connection, none of the other USB ports or the SD card port in the back works. Only the display output work. But if you have the Oculink and Thunderbolt connected, all of the ports work. Or if you have the Thunderbolt 4 connected to your device, then all the ports work as well. So the only downside is when you connect the Oculink, you don't have the dock, basically is not working. Now, is this an awesome device? I'm absolutely loving it. The price actually is not too bad compared to some of the other docks that you can see out there. I know perhaps you don't have as much ports, but the display port, and you get actual extra performance as well for that amount. I am liking that a lot. So if you're interested in this, check it out in the video description below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want to build yourself the best bang for buck creator PC, there's some build guides in the video description below. I'll see you in the comment section. Bye bye.